This is Todd Tucker. You listen to Burlew Shenanigans. Check it out. It is some great stuff.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to the Burlew Shenanigans podcast, fresh off the Halloween extravaganza, Mike. You're looking a little different than the last time I saw you. You're looking a little bit more color to your face. You don't have a cane or sexual object in your hand.
I always have a sexual object within the vicinity. If ever an emergency comes, I will be prepared with my sexual object of choice.
So you're telling me, like, when we've done interviews with, like, I don't know, Clark Fredericks, a man who murdered his scoutmaster that was molesting him, and
dildos, yes.
You just had a sex object.
Yeah, dildos were that night. Go on. Just name a guess. I'll tell you what was there.
So the family that lost their little brother, King Kobe, we did this really introspective, kind of touching interview. It was one of my favorite ones, underlooked ones that we don't talk about enough.
Gag ball mouth. Yes. Yes. Okay. I didn't bring it out because it was such a heartwarming story, but it was there prepared to go in case.
Yeah, I just picture in the moment they're talking about how their brother was shot and they found him, and they see you lift something and they're like, was that crotchless panties he just pulled up? Like
oh, you weren't supposed to see that yet.
Yeah. But anyway, Burlew, you look a little different from the last episode.
Yep. Less makeup. I'm using my actual voice for the entire night. It's a good feeling. It did take a couple minutes to kind of clear out the throat after the show and all, but was perfectly fine the rest of the night and the next day. Those
who don't know what he's talking about, we're not talking about the sexual object and clearing its throat out. We're talking
but that's tonight's object.
The last episode was our annual Halloween episode, which I can only quite explain a little bit, but like to really get a grasp of it, you got to go back one episode and check it out. It's a games episode, as we call it, one of our specials that we put out, and Mike dressed as 3 different vampires and had to talk like Bill Skarsgård in the latest Nosferatu. Now, if you saw the latest Nosferatu, I say the latest as if the one before it was, I think it was like 1931.
That'd be great. It's a silent film. I was hoping Burlew sounded like that.
I've been waiting for that forever. The voice that Bill Skarsgård does is truly incredible. So we gave Mike the task. I feel like we've been talking about this for 6 months or something like it's been a long time that we've been talking about this. I could look up when Nosferatu came out because that's when this came up. He called himself Burlewsferatu, and we just kind of snowballed with it. Like, well, without having any other ideas, I said, well, there's the Halloween game. And
I heard something. We're doing something with it. That's how it works here on the show.
Yeah, so hopefully if you go back and listen to the silliness and how absurd it is, you guys will check it out. So Mike had to talk like that in the game, or he had to lose points, if you will. But you need to go check that out. I don't want to give too much away. We also had Mark Steger on from Stranger Things, and this week Stranger Things is coming out. So that's the last little upfront promotion I'll do here. Mike, right before we got on, you said, I got something to talk about. I'll do it. I can talk, which is really assuring going into a podcast that we've done for 12 years now.
Yeah. I feel good about myself. That's how I sound in work. And when it's like, all right, we're redesigning this entire IT room. We need a completely different infrastructure. And any thoughts, Mike? I got something. I could talk.
So, Mike, what do you got? Let's jump right into it.
Well, Scott, as we did the write-up for last week's episode, we kind of talked about the body total of Michael Burlew, and you kept on emphasizing it during the horror episode, if you will.
Our newsletter came out finally today.
Yes,
Also
it
touches
was
on this. Yep.
kind of a minor miracle, if you will, and all. And I keep on telling you, you try to add numbers to my total that I feel is not justified and it's kind of unfair. And anytime I just randomly bring up a story, you just try to add to the numbers.
Now, can I preface this to the new audience if there's new listeners here today?
You know what? I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Over the years, Mike has had an incredible amount of bodies that he's seen or people drop dead in front of him. So I've talked to like other friends, like how many bodies have you seen in your life? I've seen, I would say I saw definitely one dead guy in the parkway after a motorcycle accident. And I saw one guy that was like overdosed or sleeping or needed to be Narcaned in a park, but he was snoring. So I guess he wasn't dead yet. And hopefully that guy survived. I know someone did call the cops. So hopefully he's alive. Now, Mike has seen bodies in rivers. He's had bodies in parking lots. He's had people drop dead in restaurants that he's at, in grocery stores, in parking lots of places he used to work. The amount is truly almost insane, which leads me to believe that Mike has some hand or responsibility in said killings.
Well, I feel that is not justified. I feel you are bullying me into convincing the crowd that I have some kind of curse or plague or I do something to people. I really think it's unfair. It's something that really tugs at my heartstrings, and I really wish you stop that. And the reason I say that is now we go to my kind of story, if you will. So had my birthday a couple weeks back.
Birthday,
remember
buddy.
that? Yep. Big old 4-9 and all.
Oh,
so
my God. You've been doing this since you were in your 30s.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What the hell we been doing? You know what? I quit. Let's go. So, yeah, I had a real fun time. I the wife wanted to know what I did. So the day before my birthday, we went up to Rock City up in Georgia. And I sent you pictures there. I found out they allowed dogs there. And also I brought my doggies up to Rock City. You're on top of a mountain and they have trails that you can go through. They have suspension bridges. They have caverns to go through. Beautiful looks throughout the place. And you actually have a viewing spot where you can see 7 different states from the mountain. And that's how high up and beautiful and spacious everything is. And also I had a wonderful day before my birthday. Got to hang with the dogs, went to 2 new breweries.
Perfect.
Everything's
Perfect day.
going beautiful. My birthday day comes and I said, you know what? I feel like a pumpkin pancake. You know me.
Whoa, I feel
pumpkin.
I feel like a pumpkin pancake this morning.
She's like, you want to eat it? I'm like, no, I'm a pumpkin pancake. I want you to call me that.
I'm your little pumpkin pancake.
Yeah.
Call me pumpkin pancake, baby.
But we went to this kind of like restaurant / diner, and they had a little crowd because it was brunch. So we went for coffee, and they took our name. And then as we were out getting coffee, it's like, oh, your table's ready. So we had to sprint back, and we're in the driveway of the place. And I'm really like, you got to get out. You got to get out. I almost pushed my wife out of the car one, and I realized I still haven't fully stopped said car.
Nice. That's
but,
not very pumpkin pancake-like behavior.
Hey,
shoving your wife out of a Shoving your wife
you don't
out
know
of a
who
moving
Pumpkin
car.
Pancake is. You don't know their backstory. Don't be telling me I'm not a Pumpkin Pancake and all. But she informed me
The next year's Halloween episode, your pumpkin pancake.
So she reminded me, hey, car's still moving. So I stopped. She went out, went into the diner. Excellent food. I got my big old pumpkin pancake with biscuits and gravy. And
when you walked in there, they're like, hey, it's pumpkin pancake.
you know who only in October.
Get him ready.
So the wife goes, where do you want to go from here? I'm like, we'll go to a museum, I guess. I was in to say a little disappointing. They had a planetarium. We've watched a movie from the planetarium, and I gotta say, at an older age, it's not the greatest to stick your neck back trying to watch a movie on the ceiling anymore.
Picture like kids watching the planet and then just hear
my back, my neck, the pumpkin pancake is split. So
it was everything sounding wonderful. Like
everything sounding
museums,
wonderful.
breweries, pumpkin pancakes.
Yeah. So
7 state views.
We checked out the museum. It's kind of tiny. There's supposed to be like a walkway in the woods, and that was kind of closed down.
Of course. Yeah.
But now there's no bodies in the woods.
I want to visit this walkway in the woods in the museum.
I wouldn't do that. I would just shove my wife out of the car to get my pumpkin pancakes, but I digress. So that was kind of closed down. That was a little disappointing and all. But I still said, I want to go walk on a path somewhere. And the wife's like, oh, okay. I mean, I got sneakers. I don't have socks. So let's go to Walmart. We go to the closest Walmart in Atlanta. And the wife is like, hold it. I'm like, what? She's like, there's a child over there on the ground. And I'm like, where? So there's a little kid on the ground, and like the mother or grandmother is hovering over him. And there's like a scene, and her being a nurse, she's like, let me out. I have to go check this.
You've spread to children now?
I don't spread to children. I didn't finish the story.
You
are trying to put falsehoods into the minds of our audience.
You had started with randomly old people that worked with random people in India that
it's my grandmother, for the record.
With your grandma. Yeah. People who generally die. Now you're spreading your death and plague to children.
All right. So I stop her off, and I go park the car, and I come back to the situation. And what the situation is it's an 8-year-old boy, and apparently he has some kind of bone disorder where he has like the fragile bones, where if he just does a simple fall, he can hurt. He had like 2 casts on both of his hands. So he's like on the ground, and there's like a spot where there's a railing, and then there's like a little ramp, like not tall, maybe like a foot or something like that. But I guess a kid wanting to be a kid ran to it and then kind of flipped over the railing and fell. So he was awake. He was talking. Wife is trying to talk to the person and kind of figure out the situation. She was kind of frozen in what's going on. She didn't know. It's like, okay, he's responding well, but obviously he has this condition. So I don't know how to work on this situation. So he called 911, and we gave him all the directions that we could. And they said, well, they need somebody to flag them down. So I'm in the streets of Atlanta, just sitting in there in traffic, waiting to figure out who to wave down to help this boy here.
Now, I'll give you a hint. Usually they come in an ambulance. Like, it's not like a Guess Who game.
You put a valid point out there. It's usually an ambulance. So, like, 5 minutes go by, and I hear, I'm like, okay, this must be it. And a fire truck is coming. So there's a weird moment. I'm like, are you looking for a fire? Are you filling in for the ambulance? So there's a subconscious thing where like, am I going to get yelled at for calling you over and like apartment building burns down in this situation?
Hey, Mr. Fireman, it's me, Mr. Pumpkin Pancake. There's a broken bone kid in the supermarket.
They just passed by. That's Pumpkin Pancake. You never listen to Pumpkin Pancake when he waves you down. That's a well-known fact. So
I told you about Woo Woo, right?
Woo Woo? I don't think so.
No, I'll get to Woo Woo in a second.
Okay. So like I said, the Walmart is down like a hill. I had to climb up a hill, to get to the road. So I'm like pointing to them. I'm like, he's over there by the stop sign. So I don't know if they understand. So I had to run down said hill and kind of call them over. And there was like a weird spot where it was in the road, and I'm like trying to wave them over, and they hit the horn. So I'm not sure they're telling me get the hell out of the road, or are they acknowledging my waving was doing well?
They want you to clap and get out of the way when they honk the horn at the kids, you know.
I was just a little kid, like, honk the horn again. I'm just pulling my string there. So I don't know the result. The kid was conscious the entire time. They were talking to him. The ambulance came after the fire truck people adhered to him. So I believe the kid is good. So I believe this counts as a savior for Michael Burlew over a body.
You're repenting, is what you're saying.
I wouldn't use repent because, I don't know words, but I feel like whatever number you have, it should subtract
I don't know words. I mean, the amount of emergencies you see is truly like it's wild. Like, I'm afraid to hang out with you. Like, this means just a brittle bone, people falling all over the place, bodies floating in the lake at my house.
Well, it's not every day. I mean, if you
it's close. You have a story once every 3 months. You're like, I got another one.
Well, if you go by the 49-year model, if you will, and you count the bodies, that percentage is pretty low if you think about it, Scott. I feel like you're just trying to throw different math problems at me that don't equate to what I do in life.
Let me tell you about woo-woo real quick.
Before you do woo-woo, on a side note, so as I was trying to find guests for the podcast.
Please don't tell me you were looking for brittle bone children. And
no, I was not.
Found one.
I never look for brittle bone children. They just happened to come upon me. I repent, as you point out.
At one point when we made a list of possible guests when we first started, yes. I'm surprised brittle bone child wasn't one of the categories we were looking for.
That would be a very silly guest to have on the Verbal Shenanigans podcast. I think outside the box. I saw this. I asked myself, who has the largest amount of bugs? And I found that there's this old couple who had the world's largest insect collection. And they were in their 70s. And there was a tiny little short film documentary about them called Love Bugs that talked about how they have all these insects throughout the world. And I said, that's a beautiful story. That will work for the podcast. Hey, I found their email. I'm going to send an email. I'll get, we got the template. Hey, I'm Michael Burlew. Me and my buddy Scott do a podcast called Verbal Shenanigans. Here's all the amazing guests that we have. We would love to have you on there. And 5 minutes later, I get an email. Yeah, the husband died about 5 years ago, and the wife is in hospice.
It just doesn't stop, dude. It just doesn't.
I didn't know them when they died. I knew them at that
even
moment.
The guests you're getting are dying, or they die shortly after you talk to them.
As awkward as it sounds, I said, okay, thank you for the info. I'm so sorry to hear that. She still replied back, yeah, the wife is in hospice. I don't think she'll respond. And I'm kind of like, I don't think I'm going to call this hospice to do a podcast interview about bugs that she no longer has.
So, Emily, tell us about your bug collection.
Scott, I can't hear over the iron lung. Should I unplug this thing?
It started in 1972.
Yeah. So that's my story. And again, you're probably going to try to add 2 or 3 to me, which won't count. But go on with woo-woo, if you will.
Woo-woo was a real person. Okay. I used to play in a band with some guys from the Rutherford area in Jersey, which is basically right around where Giant Stadium is. For those of you not from Jersey, where the Giants and Jets lose, that's the name. That's the neighborhood. Yeah. And my buddy at the time, he was in the band. He worked at a gas station. And the gas station was kind of cool. Like he would just have his friends over and hang out in the gas station. Like we'd have guitars and bring beer and like,
That's what you do in New Jersey. You just hang out at gas stations all night.
pretty much. And so one time I'm there and all of a sudden I hear, woo, woo, like the sound of a fire engine, but being made by a man's mouth. Sure enough, I'm like, what the hell is that? And the other people around me are not panicked at all or like taken aback, but they're like, woo woo is out. I'm like, excuse me, woo woo is out? They're like, yeah. Woo woo is a kid. He's actually like a man that drove. He definitely had some like special needs of some sort, but he drove around on his bike with a CB radio and or like a fire scanner, police scanner, and would hear where the fires were or where the police cars were going. And then he himself would turn into the fire truck and try to pedal to where the location was. So he would, sure enough, go, woo, woo, like, and that's how he got the name Woo Woo. Now, if you think I'm lying, you could look up Woo Woo from like Lyndhurst, New Jersey or something like that. And there is a video of him. And they were just like, yeah, he's just this local guy that does this.
Now, would he do our podcast or is he also in hospice? I just need to make sure before I contact him because I would feel really weird, especially I'm like, no, stop emailing me. You're in hospice,
Yeah, I'm not sure if Woo is still with us. That would be a hard find. I'm pretty sure he may have been homeless. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, Mike, why don't you tell us about people who actually will be on our podcast? Who we got tonight?
Scott, we are talking with Todd Tucker. He is the president of Illusion Industries, and he has been an actor in films. He has done makeup of some of the biggest movies, Toxic Avenger, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You might have seen him on Halloween Wars. He has had just a diverse kind of career in Hollywood, and we're going to find out more about him tonight.
Let's get Mr. Tucker on the line.
Hello.
Hey, Todd.
Hey, can you see me all right?
Yeah, I see you
awesome.
Perfectly. You look amazing.
Oh, shit. Thanks, guys. How you doing?
Doing great. Great.
See ya.
Mike
Thanks for
and
having me on.
Scott.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Todd, to start off, musician, special effects, actor, producer, director. Is there a job that you've done that you don't get to talk about on these interviews out of curiosity you want to throw out there where you're like a really good line cook, but nobody paid attention to you or something like that?
No, that's already too many hats as is.
You never heard about
honestly, I can't. I'm a horrible cook. I can't fix cars, and I know very little about a lot of things, actually.
Well, welcome to the club then. You fit right in here.
I do.
Well, let's kind of let's start at the beginning, and I know we're going to come back to this later on, but kind of talk about your initial days as a hair band musician and all. Was that like, all right, I got this is the dream and nothing's going to change, or were you just like playing around and other stuff happened?
Well, I started actually playing drums when I was 5. My mom was a child star, and she was taught how to play musical instruments at 5. So she did the same thing with me. So by the time I was like 11 years old or so, I could play jazz, fusion, rock. I could play all kinds of stuff because I had to practice 3 hours a day from 5 until like 14. It was 3 hours a day. So I got pretty good on drums. And then I started at like 11 or 12 years old, I started playing weekends with like big orchestras up in San Francisco and in the Northern California area, and playing on all these nightclubs. And I was a little kid, and I'd get dropped off and I'd play there and then get picked up at night. But it was pretty cool. And then by the time I got to be about 18 or so, I was playing in rock bands, and I started singing behind the drums because I got kind of bored just playing drums. So I started singing backup, and then I started singing lead, and then I became a lead singer drummer. And then we got signed by a record label, and they said, no way, you need to be Bon Jovi and come up front, which I really didn't want to do. But I came up front as the lead singer, and had a band called Dreamer, and we were signed by our label. And for a little while, we were opening up for a band called The Tubes, if you remember The Tubes back in the day. And then we made an album. We recorded it at Fantasy Studios, which is where Journey did their Escape album. And we were working with Journey's producer, and we were looking like we were about to take off. We were scheduled to go potentially be the opening band on tour with Whitesnake. And then literally overnight, it all changed. Nirvana showed up, and I don't know what the hell happened, but all of a sudden hair bands were like the new disco. And it was just, I went from signing autographs in Guitar Centers to being giggled at and pointed at within like a week's time. So everything got canceled. My tour got canceled. Everything got canceled. And but at the same time, I had met a guy named Steve Wang, who was about a year older than me, and he was doing all these special effects makeup, and I really wanted to do special effects makeup, and he started teaching me all this stuff. So I was practicing all the time and sculpting and painting and making monsters and makeups and stuff while I was doing the music thing. And then once everything went belly up with the music, I moved to Los Angeles and started working in the film industry. And my first movie was actually Hook with Spielberg. And I got really pissed off actually at music, and I stopped playing music and even listening to rock music for about 10 years and just listened to, soundtracks and jazz and blues and other shit. But I was just like, I'm not gonna do it. So, and then I got in the film industry and had a really fun career doing that. So, yeah.
So we have had a couple special effects guys on. We've had our friend Howard Berger from K&B Effects on a couple times. Love him. He's actually coming on later on in the month again. We've had Dirk Rogers on, who and we've found a common thread between our special effects friends. And I'm curious if it affects you too. Were you a kid who was just obsessed with monsters growing up, and like the original Hollywood Universal Studio monsters and all that? Because each one of them talks about that in such high praise, and how it just was like an obsession, and the monster stuff was there even from a young age.
Absolutely. And the majority of the effects people, we all have the same story. And if you stuck us all in a room, we could talk about Star Wars and Halloween and Texas Chainsaw for hours and hours, like total nerds. I was totally obsessed with movies. I was an only child, and I went to go to the movies I went to the movies every weekend and would spend hours and see the same movie over and over. I think I saw Star Wars like 47 times or something stupid like that.
Nice.
But we're all the same. We all got totally influenced by these movies. Movies like John Carpenter's Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and all these great movies, because the late 70s and the 80s just cranked out the best movies of all time. And then of course you had the old great classics, the old black and whites, the Wolfman and all the great classics that really, are the stable beginning of it all. But yeah, we're all nerds. We all love that stuff. And I know all those guys. So we're all little kids in our rooms making ourselves up and drawing pictures and
all awesome guys. So I guess it is a pretty cool
and Tammy Lane also.
Oh, and Tammy Lane.
Yep. Yeah. No, we're a breed for sure.
So what is it like your big break early on learning makeup? You're in a Spielberg movie. Kind of give us a gist of, is it trial by fire, or to just shove you in there? This is what we want. Good luck with you. Or is there somebody there like coming close? Okay, this is how I would do it, and let you come up with your own art. How's that all start?
Well, I got super lucky. I started. I was taught by my good friend Steve Wang, who I met when I was 17, and he was 18, and he was making all these great things in his garage. And then he taught me a bunch of stuff, and then he came to Hollywood and started working. And Steve actually was responsible for creating The Predator. if you remember that amazing character. So he's a legend in the industry, but he taught me quite a bit. And then when I moved here, I started working for an effects company, and I had already, sculpted and made molds and had the gist of what to do, but I learned a lot very quick while working there. And then when we made the mermaids for Hook, and we were on set and putting on the mermaid fins and blending off all the blenders and doing all that stuff. And it was great. I mean, we had a team of people, so we were all working together. So I got to learn on the job, basically, even more than I'd already known. And it was super cool. And everyone I worked with was really helpful, and but it was amazing. I got to tell you, to be sitting there on Sunny Lot, staring at Robin Williams, looking at Steven Spielberg, and those two guys were, when I was growing up, Spielberg and Robin Williams were my idols, and there was no one bigger. So to have my first movie and have them, and when Robin came in for a head cast, because we did his pointed ears and we did stunt makeups, likeness makeups for all the stunt guys. When he came in for his head cast, I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even talk. I was like, didn't know what the hell to say. It was a pretty amazing experience. Yeah. So I was very lucky to be put into that level of effects right off the bat.
Yeah, look as I'm doing some prep for the interview, I'm just like looking at all the different things you've done. And it's hard to like single out just individual things. So I'm curious, instead of me like going through like each of these things, is there like as you look at your career, was there like a certain movie or a certain project that like you went from like A level to all of a sudden being like, I learned so much on that job, and it took me to open up all different avenues? Like, was there like a linchpin kind of moment?
It's weird, because when I came down here, I got thrown into such, like, we went from doing Hook to doing Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, and then I mean, we were just doing, then Mrs. Doubtfire, then White Chicks, then, I mean, it was just movie after movie, and it never stopped for a long, long time. And I was just super lucky. I was just on a machine that was already moving forward, and I got to just kind of jump on the machine and ride it and go on all these amazing films, and blown away every time I would go on these movies that I was actually on these movies. And it actually really struck me when I was at Universal Studios, because I used to go to Universal Studios all the time as a kid and go on the tour, like, all the time. And I was working on a movie called Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-hmm. And we were shooting this big parade scene that's at the end of the movie on the back lot of Universal Studios. And somebody, the tram went by, and a kid looks at me and he smiles and he waves like this. And I look at him and I wave. And I go, holy crap, I did that like 20 years ago, wishing that I could be that guy. And now I'm sitting here waving back at the kid So it was that moment kind of like put me in a frame of, wow, you kind of made it where you wanted to be moment,
Ironically, I think our friend Howard worked on the Turbo Man costume.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah.
Which is
he did Turbo Man, and then I did Booster, the pink tiger.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a split build, but it was super fun. And I remember being on set, I was holding the Booster head, the animatronic head, and the little kid from the movie comes walking up to me, and he's looking at the head, and he goes, "That's interesting." And I go, "Oh, thanks." And he goes, "Guess what?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "I'm Darth Vader." I go, "What?" And he goes, "I'm Darth Vader." And he walks away, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Sure as hell, that kid was Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, got it.
The young one. Okay, yeah.
That was that kid. And he was right. He was Darth Vader. I was like, oh,
Darth
my God,
Vader.
you don't even know what you're walking into, little boy.
Now, I'm a big horror guy myself. I love when we get the special effects, because you're always on these big movies that I've grown up and love. I was kind of shocked by your Instagram, where you showed with Leatherface how you had a whole new setup with the Velcro and the skull caps to make it easier to come on and off versus the makeup and glue. Can you kind of talk about the decision in doing that? And is there any concern trying something new like that when you have like such a big horror franchise icon, where it's like, oh, if it don't look right, I'm not going to hear the end of it?
Well, my team actually, I would love to take credit for that personally, but one of my guys, a guy named Martin Astles, who was on my team at the time, kind of came up with that idea and ran it past me, and we did a bunch of tests, and it worked great. And we showed it to the studio, and they loved it because it cut down so much time. But the thing is that you could actually, because there was Velcro all around this vacuform piece that he would wear, and you could actually, by kind of adjusting where you put the Velcro, you could give the face different expressions. So it really was super cool what it was able to do. And it was interesting because I think we ended up making something like 52 of those faces, because every scene we would have the blood, and whatever blood would get on him, that had to stay consistent for that scene. So we would literally put that face aside and mark it. And the guy on set Martin, again, the same guy, he would have a whole line of these heads, so that when they would go to a certain scene, he would pull out the right head for the right blood of that scene. And it was super confusing. That was one of the hardest things, was the blood continuity on that film. And it was interesting because it happened just, I got the call about a week before the shutdown, and I was like, yeah. And then we shut down. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose this damn movie. And they called me and they're like, screw this shutdown. We're moving forward. Are you on? And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So we did it on this thing called Zoom, and we did a whole, COVID safe version of this. And then they shot the whole movie over in Bulgaria. They built Texas in Bulgaria and shot it over there. So it was great. That was a lot of fun.
It's crazy. So when you go into something like The Passion of the Christ, which is so different than the stuff we're talking about here, different theme movie, obviously, is that a big adjustment going from, the monsters, the aliens, the robot, whatever it is, to something like that? And I also started reading an interesting story you had from working on Passion of the Christ, which I think our audience would enjoy.
It's different in the sense that you're doing something that's much more realistic,
right?
And you are more so looking at reference photos of what realistic cuts and bruises and all the stuff that happened. You're using real reference to try to make it as accurate as possible and look realistic. When you're doing creatures and stuff like that, it's a much more of a designing phase, and there's a lot more room for creativity in that respect. We did a makeup. There's a scene in the movie where the Judas is having a vision, and we did a makeup, and Mel wanted it to look like Judas seeing himself, but as something horrific. And we did a disease makeup on this one guy and did a test with it. And about a week later, I was in my office sculpting something, and they came up to me and they said, "Hey, Mel's in the other room. He's not happy. He wants to talk to you." And I'm like, oh crap. And Mel's intense as hell, man. He's one of the best directors I've ever worked with.
I've heard his cell phone calls.
He's intense. He's a very intense dude, but I love him. He's so good at what he does. But I walked into the room and he goes, "Hey, I don't like the diseased looking version of the makeup that we did." And I said, I go, "Well, it was what you asked for, right? But now that you've seen it, you don't want it?" And he goes, "Correct." And I go, "Okay, cool. Okay, as long as I didn't miss the mark." And then he goes, "I want this." And he pointed to a design on the wall that all you could see was eyes in a shadow. And there was no real design. It was in a shadow, and all you saw was the eyes. And he goes, "Go make this." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "I want to see it before I leave today." I went, oh my God. So I ran in my office and I just sculpted out something as quickly as I could just to get a shape and everything. And so we ended up, I sculpted it on myself. So I got to play the Judas demon, and we shot it I think about a week later. And he had me in this chair and he was spinning into the shot as this demon. And I did it for like 6 hours straight. And I'm like, "Mel, what can I do different for you? I'll do anything you want." And then I got up and I was like, "Oh man, my side hurts a little bit." And sure as hell, I got a hernia from spinning in a chair for 6 hours. How stupid is that? That was an awesome an awesome show to work on. And I worked with Mel on a bunch of other films too. And that guy is just an amazing filmmaker. No matter what you think of the guy, he's an amazing director and actor.
Sure.
And with everything you do, is it better for you to like do the extra stuff on a film you're already working doing special effects, or does it get more pressure or anxiety ridden if it's like I'm doing special effects and I'm going to do acting in this or do some puppeteering on this show or something to that effect?
You know what? I love to multitask. I love the challenge. I love the pressure. I don't really skydive or do anything crazy like that. I do play creatures and do makeup effects, which is my version of skydiving. So I don't know. I really enjoy it. I have the tolerance to be able to be in a creature suit for a really long time and give a performance and create body language and really bring something to it. And as far as puppeteering, it's really uncomfortable at times to do that. I mean, to hold your arm over your head for 10 minutes alone is not an easy thing to do. So try it for like 4 or 5 hours, and also be able to give a performance or whatever it is. So I just really enjoy bouncing around and doing all of that. If I can make the character and play the character, that's my favorite situation.
Now, speaking of, we talked about some of the times you learn positive things. Was there ever an experience on set that was like so trying and so exhausting and didn't work out correctly that was one of the hardest parts of your career?
I can tell you one of the scariest times I had when I was working on Bram Stoker's Dracula. We did a scene where towards the end of the movie, Gary Oldman is in the old white-faced makeup, and one of these barbarian guys comes up and slits his throat. And I showed up on set, and they'd already put the makeup on him, and it was my job to have the rig with the blood coming through and all that. And they gave me a Hudson sprayer, and I didn't get an opportunity to test anything. Right. And I was like, oh, my God. So we went on set and I pumped up the Hudson sprayer and Coppola said, action. The guy cut his throat and I hit the Hudson sprayer and he goes, dip, dip. Little blood came out like that. And Coppola goes, cut. And I go, oh, God. And he goes, come here. And I come up to him and he goes, what's wrong with the blood? And I go, how much blood would you like, sir? And he goes, you can't give me enough blood. And I'm like, okay. So I go, give me a compressor. Forget this Hudson sprayer. Do this. And I rigged something in about 2 minutes. I look back. I got Gary Oldman staring at me. I got Winona Ryder. All these guys. I was just like, I'm like, ah. So I look at the compressor and I have no idea how high to turn it. And I close my eyes and I turn it and I go, okay, I'm ready. And sure as hell, he goes, action, slice. I hit the compressor. It goes, goes on like this, right? The blood comes out. It goes, and it starts shooting like a sprinkler. And I'm like, oh no, right? And he calls cut, and I look up, and I'm pretty sure I got blood on his white suit, on Coppola's suit, if I remember correctly. I kind of blacked out a little bit. And I looked up and I go, I'm dead. I'm a dead man, right? The whole place is just covered in blood. And I look at him and he looks at me and he goes, I loved it. And I almost passed out. Like I want to kill myself. I was literally going to go drive off a cliff right after that.
I am curious.
I hated that day. That was a horrible day.
With a situation like that, when you're doing like blood work and like, obviously it makes a humongous mess and whatnot. Yeah. Like, when you got to do multiple takes, like how long in between, like the next take, like does it take, are we talking hours, half days to clean up and get ready for the next one? Like
it could. I mean, I haven't done a blood effect that I had. I mean, reset on cleaning up after doing a blood effect, like slicing somebody's head off and having stuff go all over or whatever. The cleanup is really tight, hard because you got clothing, you got hair, you got, the set and everything. So I'm personally not a huge fan of doing blood gags because it's really messy and it can take, it can take a long time, but they won't give you that time. So you got to figure out quick ways of making it happen and being able to reset within like 10 minutes, no matter what it is. You got like 10 minutes, baby. Time's money on set. So you just figure out ways to, have either a second set of clothes you can quickly switch out in and have all this stuff ready. So it's almost like a race car coming into a stop and having all the wheels done and everything. And then just putting them right back out there and trying it again.
So you made your own company, Illusion Industries, and I know it's not only special effects, but you're also a production company. Can you kind of talk about how did you know you were ready to make movies? Obviously, you've been in there for quite a while, but how do you tell yourself, yes, I can do it, and that we're not going to kill our company or myself doing this?
I had a master goal before I moved down here to get into makeup effects, to start acting and puppeteering, and to eventually direct and write my own projects and produce my own stuff. So I just kind of timed it out and made sure that I established myself in each situation, to the point where I could open more doors and make it all happen. It was good because, when I would, like my first movie, Monster Mutt, it was, we got financed, and then I got to pay my guys to make the monsters for the film. I got to, pay some of my crew as far as production people, myself as a director and all that. So it helped facilitate the studio also, while I was also doing makeup effects for other movies and television and stuff like that. So, and I had a good enough crew that I could disappear and go make a movie and still have them continue cranking out the effects that we had for the other projects and stuff. So it's important to have a good team around you, obviously, to be able to multitask in that way. And it's hard too, when you're the owner of the company, you really get, pulled in a lot of directions, and you've got to deal with a lot more of the business politics part of it rather than the creative. So, so it's always fun for me to be able to do more creative whenever I can.
When that wave of CGI came in, where it seems like every movie just full force went all in CGI, did you ever feel like pressure, like like these practical effects are going away in Hollywood, or did you ever feel like at a loss or nervous that you guys are going to be phased out? Because now we're seeing like that beautiful combination of both.
Mix.
They seem to have figured that out now. But
well, it was interesting because the first time that I experienced us losing work to CGI and not getting the job and having them do it in CGI was when I worked on the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey. We had created the dog puppets, and they're like, no, we don't need them. They just scanned the puppet head, so they had a head to go off of, but then they did the whole dog digitally, and a lot of the makeup changes and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, we've definitely lost things to CG, but at the end of the day, as a filmmaker, and when I worked on The Passion of the Christ with Mel, we opened up a digital company and did all the digital and the practical effects for the film. And I had got the rare experience of being able to sit in a room with guys on the left side of the table that are all practical makeup effects, and then guys that are all digital, and say, hey guys, we're combining this as a team for the first time, really. And let's figure out some new things that we can do that haven't been done before. So we did a bunch of tests and figured out all these great ways, and ultimately found out that if you can start with a practical element, even if it's a miniature or whatever it is, and manipulate that so you have something that is a solid base that is real, and put it into an environment that is, digitally put it into an environment or whatever. I learned a lot as a filmmaker and as a director. And now, because I understand a lot of that, it makes I do a lot of meetings with the digital departments on films that we're working on, that we're doing the makeup effects for, to help kind of figure out where the line would be to do digital or makeup, and really kind of start collaborating in that way. So I'm a big fan of the combination. I think it works better when you have both, in my opinion.
Sure.
So talk about the movie Rockbottom that just recently came out. You direct, you're acting in it, and it's really cool, like the story you told on your Instagram about how the making the music for it and bringing in some big names, so you get to live your music life again. So tell people about the movie and that project itself.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, right around just before COVID, my daughter asked me if I would ever get my old band back together, and I'm like, no, not a chance. But then I was like, you know what? If I wrote a script and put a real band together and made a movie and then took that band on tour and all this, I could be, that would be the greatest thing in the world. So I started putting the script together right when COVID hit. That became my mission. make Rockbottom. And I pulled my drums out. I hadn't played music for 15 years, 20 years, whatever it was. And I pulled out my drums and started practicing my drums every day so I could play the drummer in the movie. And then started writing the script and meeting a bunch of rock and roll musicians and starting to put my group of people together. And then we got financed and I got to make an all original 11 song original 80s sounding music for the film that the band plays in the movie. And I got George Lynch from Dokken playing guitar on one song, Sean McNabb from Quiet Riot and Toshi Inagi I got all these guys, these great current day playing and touring rock stars. And Terry Alous. Terry was the lead singer for XYZ and Great White, and he came in and helped me write music, and we got to record the music. Recorded a bunch of the songs before we made the movie, so we would have the songs ready for the band to lip sync to in the movie. And then the gist of the storyline, real quickly, is you have a 80s hair band getting back together. Their lead singer ends up getting hospitalized, so they hold auditions. And the pizza kid, the 20-year-old pizza kid, is the only guy that can pull it off. And but he's got stage fright, so they have to teach him how to do this and for the big show. And our lead kid, who is the kid in the movie, is Jake Bon Jovi. And it was his first movie, and he was great. He was great in it, but he doesn't sing a word. So I had another guy do his voice for him. But it was great. And the movie won a bunch of awards. It came out, it's on Prime Video and Apple TV, and the album came out. It's on Spotify and iTunes and all that. And it got great response, and it was a feel-good movie. It's not a monster movie, so I couldn't use all my outlets and do all my festivals that I would normally do. But people really dig it, and I'm glad I could put out a feel-good movie at a time where it's probably a good thing to feel good a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's so harmonious and perfect at the moment. I don't.
Yeah, well, a little hair band rock and roll wouldn't hurt it.
Yeah. Last question for me. You've worked with all these different people in these movies. I'm sure people you've never, like you were explaining Robin Williams before, people you never thought you would interact with. Is there one person or a person or two that you've come across that just like blew your mind as far as whether it's their work ethic or how they prep before seeing, or whatnot, or someone that really like was an outlier amongst all the talent you've worked with?
I will say that working with Gary Oldman was amazing, because Gary is the actor's actor. I mean, every actor I've ever talked to respects that guy like crazy. And it was interesting because when I was working with him on Dracula, I was working with him and Anthony Hopkins at the same time. And those two guys together, it's intense. And Gary's not a big guy. He's a littler guy. And when he first came in and he was, telling us that he was playing Dracula, I was like, wow, he doesn't really look the part. But man, when he got in the makeup and he played that character, he was 20 feet tall. And it's really cool too, because a lot of these guys like Gary and Robin Williams too, when you put them in the makeup, they go into character and they don't come out. Yeah. I mean, they stay in character until they're out of makeup. And as an actor, and when I started wearing makeups and doing all that, I do the same thing. And it really puts you in a different frame of mind. And I think it's a much more believable performance when you're so into it that you respond as that character, even outside of the shoots and just in makeup. As soon as they're in makeup, man, it's like 12 hours, 13 hours, and Robin never broke character. He would take phone calls, and personal phone calls and stuff, and he was Mrs. Doubtfire the whole time. But it was super cool. It's super cool to watch those guys transform into another person and literally leave their body and come back when it's done.
That's awesome.
Todd, it's really fun talking to you. The thing I kind of like about this show is just somehow we randomly think of guests. I was just randomly watching an episode of Halloween Wars that you were on, and I just said, that could be cool, and to contact you. And then as I get further into the story, it's just really amazing. We're really happy that you came on and told us your story here tonight. if people want to check out what you're up to next or any other projects, where are the best places for them to go?
So you can check me out on Todd Tucker Official Instagram, and you can also check me out on my YouTube and TikTok channel, which is Todd Tucker Movie Magic.
And my final question to you is, I saw in your Instagram that you hang out with the Crypt Keeper. Does he laugh the same way when he goes to movies as he did on the show?
You know what's awesome? So John Kassir is the Crypt Keeper, and he's such a great guy. We recently went to the premiere, or a few months back or whatever. He called me and goes, "Hey, would you like to go see the premiere of the new Terrifier movie, Terrifier 3? And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So while we were in the movie, I'm pretty sure that he did it by accident, but he was laughing, and he started kind of laughing like the Crypt Keeper. And I was like sitting next to him. I'm like, how weird is it? I'm sitting here with the Crypt Keeper watching Terrifier, you know. But John's a great guy. He's in Rockbottom, actually. He's in my movie Rockbottom. He plays the sleazy manager in the movie. So yeah, John's a great guy. He's super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's on the bucket list of guests to get on here. And all.
Oh, you know what? Get him on. He'll be a great guest. He's awesome.
I can't find him, but I'll try. You know
what? I'll send your information over to him.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we did have David Howard Thornton, who played Art the Clown on the show previously. So that's great. It's
amazing how that movie took off. Because literally that Art the Clown is the new iconic horror character of today.
Absolutely. Todd, thank you so much for your time. We wish you luck. And when you got other projects going on, we'd love to have you back on the show, my friend.
Guys, I truly appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Todd Tucker, Mike. I feel like it kind of extends into our little Halloween week here. Special effects, scary movies, things like that. But what I can't get out of my head is the fact that another body has piled up in your life. I was trying to think about something nice to say about Todd because he was a really great interview.
Very good.
And I just keep thinking about you and your killings and seeing now children. I'm not letting you near my. You know how you said you've never held a child before? I'm not letting you near my children the next time we meet up.
But maybe if I hold a baby, it will break the body curse. Like I'm the harbinger of death.
I think you'll break the body.
I'm holding on to birth, so by rule, it evens out, and then we have life.
So you think like you hold Claire, my daughter, and all of a sudden beams of light just start going through your body.
I naturally assume that's going to happen one day anyway. So I don't think we need Claire for that scenario, but maybe it will happen while holding her.
The black like fog starts coming out of your body, and you start seeing your skin tone changes. And all of a sudden, kids are just happy, and people are out of hospice, like jitterbugging out of there.
Yeah, my skin goes back to Burlew's Ferratu. That's my natural form, actually. So,
well, I want to thank Todd for coming on. But while you were busy taking lives, okay.
I'm not taking lives.
Don't interrupt my story. While you're busy taking lives, okay, I've been busy trying to help save lives. I've been busy trying to better myself and kind of start a new venture. I told you a couple of weeks ago that I worked a CPR course, kind of helped out with a CPR course. Mike, CPR is something that has helped keep people alive and bring people back to life even.
I am quite aware of CPR and the pros of it.
Well, okay. I'm sure you are. Yeah. Now I recently this Friday, I went to a class to get certified to teach CPR. So I'm able to certify people in CPR because a buddy of mine has a little business. He needs some workers, and it's a nice little possible side hustle down the line. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of things you got to print out, online components to the course and whatnot. And I know it's going to be a long day. It's a 7-hour course. I believe it was 8 to 3:30 or something like that. So maybe,
okay.
Yeah. So I arrive, okay, and the first thing I notice is there's two women that are together and they're obviously joining the class too.
Sexy CPR. Gotcha.
No? About that.
Okay.
Yeah. One older woman and one like younger woman. Immediately I'm picking up, we're doing the small talk, like, oh, where do you come from? Like, what do you do for work? Stuff. Immediately I'm picking up big, like, ditz vibes. Like, these people are just like not with it. Like, one older lady that's very like, hi, hello. And the other one was just like, yeah. She's like a young, like, yeah. She's got a tattoo on the back of her neck that says, like, when hell is full, we'll be here or something. I don't know. You're kind of
sounds like a lifesaver. Yep. Yeah. Continue.
So already I'm like, okay, I'm going to be with these two women all day long. Okay. I walk in. My other classmates join me. Two cops. Okay. Two cops. They're in like full cop gear, pretty much. And
has anybody come in with half cop gear? Like the top half is like a full uniform and then boxer briefs at the bottom.
Boxer briefs and Crocs.
Exactly. No, it's like party at the front, party at the bottom, professional at the top.
And then the sixth person in my class is I'm going to go 400-pound woman. Okay. 400-pounder. Okay. So that's it for the class. Okay. Now I'm like, whatever, it's fine, So our instructor comes in. Okay. And right away, I am almost taken aback by how ghastly she is. She too herself is maybe about 350, like big tight pants, showing the fupa, and hair pulled, what I thought was bald at first, was just pulled back so tight, but she was also balding in the front. Okay.
Oh, so interesting.
I'll show you a picture after we're done here, but horrifying looking woman. Sorry. And I'm like, well, Scott, don't be judgmental. Maybe she's nice and friendly and wonderful.
Yeah. Saving lives don't have looks, Scott. They have personality.
So we start the class and she starts off all right. But I'm noticing along the way, she's really trying to be funny. And her jokes just aren't landing left and right. She's like, it was like watching someone bomb at an open mic. Like, and when like the crowd is so small that you got to give a couple like courtesy, like, yeah. Everybody's giving a couple, yeah.
Now, is she doing like Office amongst friends comedy, or is she trying for like the this is going to be on SNL next week kind of comedy?
She's doing the I'm so crazy kind of routine, like, like sometimes like I got to tell the Red Cross like how it is, because they don't want to hear from me. They don't. And then she's like, you could ask my dad. They don't. And everyone's like, yeah. So
did you talk to her dad?
Yeah, we called them up, right. All
right.
So she's just progressively bombing, and I'm like, whatever. I got to be here. It's fine.
Yeah.
I sat through 8 million bad presentations in my life. Now, this is where the tables turn a little bit. Okay. Now it is time to practice, to go over all the skills in CPR. Okay. The rescue breaths, the chest compressions, blah, blah, blah. No problem. The AED, all the stuff that is part of the course. And then, of course, there's the Heimlich maneuver. Okay. So there's 6 of us. You got to work in partners. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, I might see where this is going. Continue.
Immediately, the 2 ditzy women, I will call them, partnered up. They know each other from work. The 2 cops know each other from work, partnered up. And there I am with the big 400-pound lady. Here we go. Okay.
All right. Like, do they give you extenders for extra big seat Heimlichs and all, like a rope across the body?
I'll get to that in a second. So first thing you got to do in Heimlich is recognize that someone's choking. And the first thing you try to do is step to the side of them. Okay. You want to lean them over and you need to put your hand across their chest and under their armpit. Now, my 400-pound friend here has gargantuan titties.
Okay.
Like enormous. So the first thing I have to do is essentially just put my arm underneath them.
Under her titty sweat. Gotcha.
And they just dangling over my arm. And I'm like, this is the worst. Okay.
Tonight on erotic fan fiction.
Now, the other part of the Heimlich maneuver is, of course, you have to go around the back, like everyone's familiar, with your hands. You have to find the navel of a person. Okay. Mike, navel is a belly button, in case you were, I know you don't know words, so I was helping you out there.
Thank you.
And then they have to like kind of point to where their belly button is, and you have to put your hand on top of that spot. And then you have to wrap your other hand around and kind of grab your fist and kind of pull in. So there I am.
You fisting that button there, buddy?
Wrapped all the way around this huge woman. Okay. And I have to be like, where's your navel? And she's like, right here. And I am not exaggerating at all. I could barely get my hands all the way around this woman. And I'm just like hugging the woman where I have to even get even closer from behind and kind of press my chest against hers to actually get all the way around her.
So basically, if you recall one of our original great guests, Sharon Alexander, you were basically sumo wrestling her, but instead of trying to get her out of the circle, you're trying to put your fingers in her circle.
Yeah. This woman looked a lot like Sharon Alexander. So just the sheer, like, come on, man. Like, why do I got to be like, I don't mind doing it. It's awkward enough if you're doing it with a friend. If I was doing a Heimlich with you, I still wouldn't want to wrap my body around you and find your navel. And
but I'm a cuddler. I mean, we've been together for 14 years. I think it's pretty safe that we can share where our navels are at, Scott.
So that part sucked. That was awkward enough. I'm like, yeah. So the class is going and going, and Bommy McGee up front is just bombing so hard now. She's just trying to grasp more and more. And then she starts to talk. Now we go to lunch. It's a half-hour lunch break, in and out. And what is everybody thinking when they have to go to a seminar or something? It's 8 to 3:30. Maybe we get out at 3 o'clock. That's what everyone in the room is thinking. Let us out a half hour earlier. So get back from lunch. I'm like on time. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. Scarf down the sandwich. Let's get this show on the road here. Say we get back to lunch at 12:30. 12:45 comes. 1 o'clock comes. And there's Bomb Master just telling us stories about how her and her wife love Legos, okay? And that they spend their vacation money on going to Lego conventions, and that she loves Legos so much that she puts Lego stickers on all of her possessions, and that the Lego company, how her wife can remember the SKU numbers of all the different Lego sets, and how she's never been to Legoland, but we're thinking about doing a honeymoon type trip to Legoland.
Oh, that's when you know you found the one for your life. And when you bring them to Legoland, it's just a beautiful feeling together.
Now I'm sitting there melting inside. I'm just like, this is brutal. Like, I don't care about your Legos. Let's just get on with the CPR so we're out of here early. So then we start again, and sure enough, we get to the end, and it's 2:45, and there's like still this whole other chunk we have to get to, and I'm like, she's gonna make us each do this individually and things like that. Like, we're not getting out of here. So it's like a final assessment kind of thing. So finally, we're almost there, and she starts bombing again. She's bombing so hard that she's making up stories that I could tell are so obviously made up. She's like, oh, well, like, because she's packing up the CPR dummies and the heads come off of them. She's like, well, one time I packed up all the CPR dummies, and, I always have them in my car, and I heard the AED going off, and it was beeping, going beep, 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 beep. Now, these things, you turn them off. They don't just beep like randomly. Anyway, she's like, so I'm on the side of the road and I had to open up my bags and line up all the plastic heads on the back of my truck. And sure enough, what do you think happened? I'm like, nothing happened because no one's going to. She's like, oh, I saw the lights. And then the cop came and he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, he thought like they were real heads. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't be taking heads out on the side of the highway because you never know that I could have really banged you. I thought it was something else. And I'm in my head like, there is not one chance that story happened at all.
Well, I'll give her props, man. That's what a pro comedian does. Even though you're bombing, you stick to your set. She went in there. She's like, I'm gonna tell the body story, and the cops are gonna be there, and they're gonna be like, oh, she's just doing some good crowd work, and she's not giving up. And she's a professional. She's gonna get to her end. She's gonna wait for the light at the end to know there's 2 more minutes left. And she's going to finish her set.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't get him with the Lego stuff. Let's go to the body story. That's my closer. Yeah. That'll get him back on my side. So we have to go through all these assessments, and all of a sudden 3:30 rolls around. Everyone's just like, you can tell every joke that she's bombing. Everyone's like, let's just get us out of here. We're like done. 3:40, 3:45. Freaking 4 o'clock rolls around and she's like, all right, we could start to wrap it up now. And everyone's like, okay, you know the nonverbal cues that people are giving, like packing their stuff up, putting their coat on.
Little tapping of the table, stuff like that.
We've been doing that for 30 minutes now at this point. Now, what I forgot to mention all during this, not to mention her bombing and me hugging very large women, the 2 ditzy women, they're the ones in your college class that are asking questions at the end of the period. They're asking, is there homework? Those type of girl. Like, they don't understand anything. And they're like, I don't get it. Like, part of the thing is reading off a manual. It's like, okay, tell the people this. They must do this. Observe further. Like, it's not rocket science. And they could not grasp it.
It's not a closed book test, children. Like, if you're looking at the pamphlet when somebody's dying, nobody's going to grab the pamphlet and go, no, you got to do this from memory, or you fail. Either that person lives or dies if you remember it.
They're just doing and it's so painful too, because you have to do like a little demo lesson, and then they ask you like, what did you like most about your lesson? What would you change? And these people are actually taking it seriously. The guys in the class know, you go, oh, I think I delivered the information good. I would freshen up on something in the future and make sure I deliver it. They're like, well, I don't know. Like, I really don't understand the information, and I think I would read the book more, maybe make some diagram. This, like, going on, and I'm like, this is just part of the stupid day. Just get through the day. That is the only target, is to get through the day. So then we're done. 4 o'clock. She's like, oh, and one more thing. And she brings up a slide on all these bullet points of what to do next. Like, give me a review, give me a survey, give me a that. Like, I had somewhere to be at 3:45. I did not get there till 4:45 from this bombing CPR lady.
You know what? I think you gotta give her another chance, Scott. Yeah. Maybe she seems like an up and comer. She probably like did a bringer where like 25 of her friends were just dying over her CPR comedy and all. I would ask her like what other courses that she teaches and all. Maybe she knows welding. Maybe she knows how to do gardening and stuff like that. I feel you should go through the whole course and give her an opportunity to do the best material humanly possible. And not only that, I feel you should be hugging a fat woman the entire time, just so you can't go, well, this is better because that lady's no longer here anymore. I still feel you should sit through her entire material and hug a fat lady and get titty sweat all up in your arms as much as possible. No, because I don't want I want to make sure it's a 1-for-1. Okay, buddy?
I thought you were going to say invite her on the show.
I think that'd be a great thing. You have the fat lady where you're at and all. I'll just be asking her questions at the end. I don't know. I mean, you really want to press the heart that much? Or Do what CPR stand for again?
Yeah. It was just like the painful corporate America, like, got to get through this. And some people just still, all these years later, after college, high school, do not know how to wrap things up and realize people just want to get out of there. We're intelligent enough people to figure out all the minutia and small crap out. I mean, the guys, as we're leaving, we're all you hear as people are leaving, just go, Jesus Christ. You mumble around their breath. I said the same thing at the exact same time as the one cop. He was like, I know. I'm like, oh, maybe we should hear more stories of Legos before we go. And they're like, unbelievable. Like, but whatever. I guess
Are you worried that you'll get in a situation where somebody's dying and you'll just start chucking Legos at them, getting things confused from the lesson?
No, Mike, I'm not worried about always being where someone's dying. That would be something you would be worried about.
Well, I mean, that's why I want her to come on the next episode. So if we save her, there'll be 2 less bodies. And we count the young kid with the bone problems, and then the CPR comedy lady helps me save the next one. And all. I'm always got sexual apparatus right here and dead bodies. So whatever the interview goes, I will be prepared.
How do we even do any more after that statement right there?
What? I can't get rid of both. I'll get rid of one if you want, but I mean, come on, I'm a professional here.
Look at us, just yin and yang. You taketh and I giveth. The gift of life was
I have a sex toy called Yin and Yang right here if you want me to show it.
But seriously, if anybody's interested in CPR certifying your staff or whatnot, just send me an email. I could set that up for you. But Mike, anything to promote before we get on out of here?
Well, as our guest had a little music in his career, I will bring up the Verbal Shenanigans Spotify list, and all of our guests have a song on our list, and we have an immaculate catalog of some amazing musical guests. Some of them you might not even thought had a musical career. We have the Dukes of Hazzard boys on our list, and all. It's really an incredible listing. We're going to add one more tonight. So I say, if you're got a little trip and you need some music and you don't want to think about Scott and Titty Sweat, put on the Verbal Shenanigans Spotify music list.
I will promote. How do I go from Titty Sweat to trying to promote something else? The Starland Ballroom. The Starland Ballroom, which is a performance venue here in New Jersey, welcomes back professional wrestling for the first time in 8 years as Fight Factory Wrestling presents No Thanksgiving. 4 championship matches, including crowning their very first tag champion. Danny Maff defends his championship versus NJ's own Joey Janela. AEW's Lady Frost is in action. All this and so much more. Tickets are available at the Starland Ballroom. So go check out our friends at Fight Factory Wrestling. That's a friend, Tommy, of ours that has promoted our stuff in the past and is a listener to the show. So
thank you, Tommy.
Go check them out. They're really working hard. They own their own wrestling federation now, and it's kind of like 3 guys' little dream. So hopefully they do well with that. So.
Now, did you send him our tape of UPWA calling that main event match? Because
no, not yet. I will. I'll get.
I feel like they're missing out on one last key thing right here.
But that's it, guys. The newsletter is hopefully back. I'll try my best to be on that frequently, but there is a lot of great stuff coming up here on the show. Please go check out the Halloween episode. Now we look forward to the other holidays. We have some other special episodes coming out shortly. But guys, that is it. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
If you have a collection of bugs and don't feel like you're about to die, please contact us and join our show.
Grandma titties.